Have you ever wondered how one of the world's oldest civilizations, China, came into existence? The origins of Chinese civilization trace back thousands of years, deep into the mists of the Neolithic period. It was a time when early humans were just beginning to understand their environment, experimenting with seeds and soil, and unknowingly setting the stage for the birth of a civilization. China's Neolithic period, spanning from around 10,000 to 2000 BCE, saw the gradual shift from a hunter-gatherer lifestyle to a more settled farming lifestyle. This was a pivotal point in human history, marking the dawn of agriculture. Early Chinese communities, like the Peiligang and Yangshao cultures, began to cultivate millet and rice, domesticating animals, and crafting pottery. Their settlements, their way of life, laid the first stones of what was to become the civilization we know today. But the true birth of China as a civilization, some historians argue, was with the formation of the first dynasties. Around the year 2000 BCE, the Qin Dynasty is said to have emerged, followed by the Shang and Zhou dynasties. These dynasties, though their existence is often blurred by the overlap of history and legend, are believed to have laid the foundation for China's complex social hierarchy, its distinctive writing system, and its enduring cultural traditions. Running like a golden thread through this complex tapestry of early Chinese history is the Yellow River. Often referred to as the cradle of Chinese civilization, the Yellow River nurtured the fertile lands that supported the burgeoning communities of early China. Its unpredictable floods brought both life and death, shaping not only the physical landscape but also the philosophical and spiritual beliefs of the people. So, the story of China begins, not with a bang, but with the quiet flow of a river. But how did these early societies evolve into the powerful dynasties we know today? Let's delve into the intriguing world of the Zhou dynasty, the first major dynasty that laid the groundwork for China's imperial culture. Going back to the 11th century BC, the Zhou dynasty introduced what is known as the Mandate of Heaven. This divine right to rule was not just a carte blanche for the monarchs, it was a cosmic contract of sorts, demanding the ruler to be just and virtuous. If the king failed in his duties, natural disasters, famine or social unrest could signify that he had lost the mandate, paving the way for a new dynasty. Fast forward to the 3rd century BC, and we see the rise of the Qin Dynasty. This was a time of great change and unification. The Qin Dynasty, although brief, was impactful. It was under the rule of the first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, that China became a unified state for the first time. His reign saw the standardization of writing, weights, measures, and even the width of cart tracks. The Great Wall of China also began its construction during this time, a testament to the emperor's grand vision. Following the Qin, the Han dynasty emerged, ushering in a golden age of cultural, technological, and economic growth. This era saw the start of the Silk Road, an extensive network of trade routes that not only facilitated economic exchanges, but also cultural and technological ones. The Silk Road was a conduit of ideas, religions, and innovations, knitting together a diverse array of civilizations from the Mediterranean to East Asia. The Age of Empires was a time of transformation and growth. It was a period that shaped the cultural and economic identity of China, setting the tone for the centuries to come. The dynasties rose and fell, but each left an indelible imprint on the landscape of China's history. China's Age of Empires set the stage for a cultural and economic blossoming that would echo through the centuries. So, what happens when an empire reaches its peak and then begins to decline? Let's take a look at the Middle Kingdom, where this cycle played out dramatically. The Tang and Song dynasties, spanning from the 7th to the 13th centuries, represented a golden age of Chinese culture. These periods were marked by extraordinary advances in technology, literature, and philosophy. It was during these times that 3 of China's most impactful inventions came to life: gunpowder, the printing press, and the compass. Gunpowder, initially concocted by Taoist alchemists in search of immortality, became a game-changer in warfare. Meanwhile, the printing press, with its movable type, enabled the spread of knowledge and literature, effectively democratizing education. The compass, on the other hand, revolutionized navigation, opening up new possibilities for exploration and trade. But as they say, all that glitters is not gold. The empire was not immune to external threats. In the 13th century, the Mongols, led by the infamous Genghis Khan, swept down from the steppes, disrupting the Song dynasty and establishing the Yuan dynasty. This period marked the first time in history that China was ruled by foreigners, an era that lasted for nearly 100 years. Yet the Middle Kingdom proved resilient. The Chinese, under the leadership of the Ming dynasty, eventually managed to restore native rule. The Ming era was characterized by a return to traditional Chinese values and a renewed emphasis on Confucianism. This period also saw monumental architectural projects, including the restoration of the Great Wall and the construction of the Forbidden City. However, the cycle of rise and fall continued. The Ming dynasty, plagued by internal strife and external threats, eventually succumbed, marking the end of an era. But throughout these periods of turmoil, one thing remained constant: China's cultural and technological prowess. This resilience, this ability to innovate and adapt, has always been a beacon to the world. Even in periods of turmoil, China's cultural and technological prowess remained a beacon to the world. But what happens when a proud, ancient civilization collides with the modern world? In the twilight years of the Qing dynasty, China, a mighty empire that had stood for centuries, found itself at a crossroads. The dynasty had long adhered to a policy of isolation, a conscious decision to shut its doors to the world. This, however, was not a decision born out of fear or ignorance, but rather a belief in self-sufficiency and the superiority of Chinese culture. Yet the world was changing. From across the seas, the West arrived with its modern ideas, technologies, and an insatiable thirst for trade. The British Empire, in particular, had a voracious appetite for Chinese tea, silk, and porcelain. But China, in its isolation, had little need for Western goods. This led to a significant trade imbalance, a problem the British solved with opium. Thus began the dark chapter of the Opium Wars in the mid-19th century. The Qing government, recognizing the destructive impact of opium on its people, fought back. But the technological superiority of the British military proved too much. Defeat led to the signing of the Unequal Treaties, a series of agreements that severely undermined China's sovereignty and economy. These treaties opened up China's ports to foreign trade, allowed foreign residents in China to be governed by their country's laws, and ceded Hong Kong to Britain. The impact on China's economy was drastic. It spiraled into a period of decline as foreign powers carved out spheres of influence on Chinese soil. Yet these trials were not without a silver lining. They forced China to confront the realities of the global stage and sparked a wave of modernization that would transform the Middle Kingdom forever. It was a bitter pill to swallow, but one that was necessary for China's evolution. China's collision with the modern world was a time of upheaval, but also of profound transformation. How did a country ravaged by war and internal strife rise to become a global superpower? To answer that, we must delve into the turbulent 20th century, a time that bore witness to the making of modern China. The sun finally set on the Qing dynasty in the early 1900s, marking the end of 2,000 years of imperial rule. This shift led to a power vacuum, sparking a period of political unrest and internal discord, culminating in the Chinese Civil War. This titanic struggle between the nationalists and the communists tore the country apart. But from the ashes, a new nation was born. In 1949, the People's Republic of China was established, a seismic shift that would forever alter the nation's trajectory. The new government, under the leadership of Mao Zedong, embarked on a series of radical socio-political campaigns. However, it was the economic reforms that truly transformed China's fortunes. Deng Xiaoping, who came to power in the late 70s, initiated a series of sweeping changes, opening up China's economy to the world. These reforms marked a departure from the traditional state-controlled model to a more market-oriented one. The country's industries were revitalized, and millions of Chinese citizens were lifted out of poverty. This was the birth of the Chinese economic miracle. Over the next few decades, China grew at an unprecedented rate, becoming the world's second-largest economy. But it wasn't just about economic prowess. China also emerged as a global leader in technology, innovation, and infrastructure. The nation's skylines transformed with towering skyscrapers, its cities interconnected by high-speed rail networks, and its industries powered by cutting-edge technology. From the fall of the last dynasty to the rise of the People's Republic, from internal discord to economic reform, the journey of modern China is a testament to the resilience and determination of its people. From ancient origins to modern powerhouse, China's history is a tale of resilience, innovation, and transformation.